I'm Megan Barker. Welcome to Jammin' and Jammies. We are sitting down with some of our favorite songwriters and industry leaders. We're going to find out how they got where they are and get some valuable insights into the music world. You can watch the interviews online or tune into the podcast. Just check out jamminandjammies.com for all the details. Today, we are sitting down with my friend and Nashville songwriter Bill DiLuigi. Bill has had over 300 songs cut, and you've probably heard his songs in TV shows and commercials all over the world. And if you're a Nashville songwriter, you probably know Bill. So we have a lot of stuff we want to talk about. Let's welcome him. Bill, how you doing?
Hey, good to see you, Megan. I have my green tea, but I forgot my jammies, so forgive me.
You look pretty cozy in your winter attire. That's close enough.
I feel snug as a bug in a rug. Yeah.
Okay, well, do you want to just start by telling everyone where you're from and how you got into music?
Yeah, it started, let's see, I'm from southeastern Pennsylvania, a little town called Downingtown, which is in Chester County. It's near Westchester, Pennsylvania, if you know where Westchester University is. But I did music all my life as a kid. You know, I had my first band in the fifth grade. We played the fifth grade assembly and always had bands going on, and had a big rock band up there for a while in Pennsylvania, and kind of all crashed and burned right before the turn of the century. And everywhere I looked, somebody was going to Nashville. And I had a really good friend up there named Jim Femina, who sadly passed this year, and he was my mentor. And he said, you know, do you ever think about writing songs for other people? And I said, not really, because I'd always been in a rock and roll band or something, and we wrote the songs. He's like, you should try it. And that began, and so the journey began to Nashville.
Wow. Wait, so what year did you get to Nashville?
So I didn't move here till 2005. In 2003, Jim said, you know, go ahead and go down there 1 week for every 3 months and just start understanding what's going on. And then, so I did that for 2 years from 03 to 05. And then I moved here in 05, the weekend of Hurricane Katrina. I'll never forget it.
Wow. Wow, what a time. Well, how long was it when you got here till you got your first cut?
Well, the weird thing about it was I came here and like I say, from 2003 to 2005, and in 2004 I went to one of these NSAI. They always have these seminars and everything, and it was a Christian one, like Christian and gospel music. And I came for that, and somebody heard my song at that and actually recorded it. They're like, we want to record that song. So I was like, wow, this is pretty easy. I'm just going to keep on coming back then. Yeah.
Wow. So you got a song cut before you even moved here.
I did, actually. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, so how long till your next one? I mean, you've had so many now. Did they just happen like this for you? Is it easy?
Well, you know, I guess they have been happening a lot. You know, this business is just you know, you learn along the way. It's what they say, you're picking up pennies and turn them into dollars, and you're picking up dollars and turn them into hundreds of dollars and hundreds into thousands. So you find ways and means. That's something that Jim always taught me, was like, find outlets for your songs. Find a place where they can go. Think outside the box. You know, what if it's a product, or what if you know somebody that's involved with a company? Or, man, I tried every single angle you can imagine, thinking out of the box to get my songs cut, and they started getting cut. And I've had some strange offshoots. You know, you never know where something's going to land. I've had songs sit around for 10 years and then get cut. And so it happens various and sundry ways. But the main thing is just keep showing up for work every day and putting the jersey on and writing good songs. And eventually they're going to get somewhere.
So how big of a role does work ethic play in this business, do you think?
For me, it's everything. It's first of all, for your fundamental, you know, becoming a good commercial writer, it takes a long time to develop your, you know, we call PI, professional intuition, your sensibilities. Because you come from a small, at least I did. I came from a small town, and we had the best rock band, and we were cool. So I'm like, well, when I get there, they're going to be blown away by my songwriting ability. You know? So you get here, and then they start going, well, and you're like, oh yeah, I never thought about that, because I was always writing songs to please myself. I wasn't writing songs that could be cut by 10 different people, that could be used in a TV show that's for a scene, that for a death scene or for a romantic scene. Like, how do you write the same song for that? So it takes a long time showing up for work every day and just learning the ropes and realizing that really they're not all great. You know, about 80% of what you write will end up sitting on somebody's iPhone somewhere, probably. And so that's why it's important to develop your skills. It's also important to develop your relationships with people and to learn how to write different kind of songs and stuff like that. So it's all about showing up.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's not the first time that I've heard that either, that you just don't know where things are going to come from. I think that's like a recurring theme in all of these people that I get to talk to, like you, is things happen when you least expect it out of crazy circumstances.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's hard to gauge what is maybe your most successful or most popular song because you've had songs in TV, you've had songs on the radio and in commercials and by so many different artists, but like what do you think is your biggest cut to date or something like that or placement to date?
Well, we've gotten, I've gotten a lot of different things. One song that's been really good to me is a song called The Great American Song. And it's been used in everything. I mean, it was, we did a deal with the show on CW, Heart of Dixie,
I love that show.
back in, I think it was in 20, back in the mid 20s, sometime 2015 or something like that. So they used about 20 different placements of a bunch of my songs from a catalog. And then, so Great American Song was used a couple of times in that show. And then it was also, it was in a movie or two. And now it's part of a thing where like it pops up. I have it with some company like Scorekeepers or something where they put in your songs for different sports and stuff. So it's been in NASCAR, it's been in sports. And it popped up the other day on Fox and Friends. We were actually, me and the writer, we're heading out to do a little tour. She's an Americana artist, Chantel Ogden, one of the writers. And she, the other writer, Mark and Stewart, called us up. He's like, "Hey man, Great American Song was on Fox and Friends this morning." I was like, wow, I don't even know exactly how they got it. But that was one that's produced a lot of money. I've got a couple of big cuts coming up this year that I can't announce right now, but we're really excited about it. And one of them was a song that was 10 years old. No, not 10. It was a song from 7 years ago. It got cut by a big artist in Europe, and then I have another one coming up real soon. We can't wait to announce those. So they're going to be on, that other one's going to be on Broken Bow. So it's going to be a big release. So,
Okay.
yeah. So anyway.
That's really exciting. We're going to have to do another sit down in a few months and get the details on that stuff.
Yes, when we can announce that, when the artists announce it themselves. Yeah.
That's so exciting. Okay, well, so songs like the Great American Song that you're talking about, were you trying to write for sync?
Yeah, we actually were that day. Chantel Ogden was with me, and she was looking at an American song. Well, I don't know if it was American Songwriter. It was some songwriter magazine, and it said, I think it was like the Great American Song Contest was the song contest, and we were writing for film and trying to find broad things, and you always can use a patriotic song or whatever. And I'm like, hey, this would be a good idea for a patriotic kind of song, the Great American Song. So yeah, we were writing for sync. That day we got it right. That was one of the 20 percenters.
That's amazing. Well, take me into songwriting then. And how is writing, because you write it with a lot of country artists, how is writing with country artists different than writing for sync? It's two different worlds. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Country music, we're writing the story. We're describing the lint on somebody's coat and what color their boots are and all these little small details. I've written like the song I wrote with you, Smoking Again. We've got like a match pack under the table. Like we've got every little detail. But then when you're writing, because they want to hear the story, because the song is the story. But then quite the opposite, when there's already a story, we don't want to retell the story that the listeners sing right there. So what we want to do is we want to usually capture an emotion or a feeling. Maybe there is one line that sort of epitomizes the whole theme, like Great American Song. So it could be about a war hero, could be about a farmer, could be the Great American Song, Anyway, so that's the difference. One is really detailed and the other is much more broad brush painting.
Beautiful way of putting it. I think that's very clear. Can you take us into what a normal week looks like for you? I mean, I know that you have a publishing deal. How much of your calendar is controlled by you versus your publisher?
We work together on it, and I have a pretty good, I have a pretty good control over it. So my week really looks like, usually I'm trying to write only once a day, but usually doesn't happen. So I'm going to say these days I'm probably writing, you know, not 8 songs a week, 8 or 9 songs a week. In between them is demo, getting songs ready to demo, possibly. So there's always staying on top of demo production, figuring out how to produce a demo. And then I have a co-publishing deal. So I still have my own publishing company that I have to do all the administrative stuff and the licensing for that one. So there's a good deal of that. And, I'll play a few gigs around town, at the Bluebird or the Listening Room. We'll do that as well. So there's all those things that are involved.
Do you enjoy that side of it since you were in a band for years? Do you love performing?
I do, yeah. It's really great. There's nothing, you can sit there, as you can sit there and agonize over melodies and lyrics for hours, and you have no clue if it's really going to go over when you use your instincts. But when you sit in a room and you play it, there's no question right away. It's either pass or fail, and there it is.
You can feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Is there an artist that you'd really like to work with? Is there kind of like a big goal of an artist you'd love to work with one day?
Well, as far as like write with,
I guess, or have them cut your song. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many I would love to have. I would love to have, Keith Urban or Kenny Chesney cut my song, or Blake Shelton. I've got lots of songs that would fit those guys. And, I'm really honored anytime anybody cuts one of my songs. I'm like, that is, somebody's gonna put everything on the line for that song. And I've had lots of, I've never had a hit, and I've had top 100, Billboard songs and stuff like that. And when somebody an artist commits to recording one of your songs, they're committing to dropping, $100,000 on that song, possibly, when it's all said and done. So I'm honored that anybody does. Yeah.
When you start talking about the numbers, a lot of people don't talk about it, but it's crazy to get a song cut and all that goes into it. That's a whole other conversation, but yeah.
Yeah.
Big belief. Yeah. What do you think is the hardest part about being a songwriter?
The hardest part is like, trying to be fresh every day and not become a hack, for one thing. The hardest part is honestly sometimes, there is so much rejection, like, and that you put your heart and soul, at least, me and you and the writers I know, we put our hearts and soul into it. We'll rewrite and write, but, and then to see something that gets cut that's really didn't seem like it had a lot going on when you hear it on the video, or maybe it's just me, but you get passed up because the way songs get cut isn't necessarily because the greatest song is what got picked. There's a lot of reasons a song gets cut, so that's kind of hard to get when you get passed up, and you're like, man, that was right on point. But anyway, yeah.
That is the most difficult part of being a songwriter. It's just dealing with the rejection. And I think everybody in town knows you and knows Bill DiLuigi as always fresh, always full of life and vibrancy, and you're ready to write a song. And how do you do it? You're a machine.
Well, I pray a lot. That helps before every session, because it is tough. I mean, what you kind of do is, you let the cliche stuff come to your brain and reject it, or just get it down on paper and then throw it away. Yeah. Or as you might, or in your brain, you're like, the first thing you want to say is, the sun was up, and then it's like, wait a minute, we can beat that,
Yeah.
So you kind of just keep rejecting things until you find something that's a little uncomfortable, and then you take that out and then you shave the rough edges off of it.
What is your favorite part of your job?
Man, I love finishing a good song, with a good lyric and a good melody. I love it when I see my name in a movie credit, at the end of the movie on the big screen. That's exciting, or I look at the chart and it's like, oh, it's, breaking into the top 100 or whatever. All that stuff. I mean, you can get hooked on looking at BDS charts real good. Like it's like crack cocaine in a way. It's like, ooh, what's going to happen next week?
Well, is there anything that you wish you would have learned sooner, or something you wish you would have known when you'd first jumped into this world?
Um, I guess I wish I would have been like a little more open. Like in the beginning, that thing like, well, this is good enough. I would think. I remember the first 4 years, like I couldn't get arrested. It felt like, and I was like, this is good enough. This is good enough. But it wasn't really like I wasn't doing that thing where reject the cliche and try to go a little deeper. Now, sometimes you want those cliches. It's like Thai cooking, you want to have like all the flavors in there. So you have a new flavor as opposed to like, wow, that's really salty, So maybe if I had learned that a little bit earlier, and I think that would have been good. Yeah.
It's interesting you mentioned that earlier too, that when we first get here, we think that we are it. We are the hit of our hometown. We think we've got it. And you quickly realize that the bar in Nashville is just so high.
And there's so many bars.
There's so many bars. You should write songs. Look at you. Well, what is next for you, and how do you focus on, like, how much time do you spend writing for sync? How much time do you spend writing with artists?
Yeah, what is next this year is just a bigger artist and some new writers I'm working with. I'm really excited about. I think it kind of is, how you want to say it, function dictates the form. So it's like I work with a couple of different shows. I work with a producer for Young and Restless, which is one of my constant placement places. So when they call and go, we need a lot of Christmas songs, so I'll jump on that. There's deadlines on things. So when a deadline comes like that, or an artist is coming to town, like we want to cut and we need a radio single to release by May 31st. So that'll tell where I'm, as opposed to writing for catalog. Like I'll move those catalog rights out of the way and go, this has got to happen, so you write for catalog, you write for product, and you write for things, people that are cutting. And then, especially for film and television, we get a lot of different cues and things from different sources that say, hey, this movie's coming up. Like now we're writing songs for a movie. It's the new Left Behind movie. It's called Left Behind, The Rise of the Antichrist. And it's like part 2 of that whole Left Behind thing. Cool. So we actually know the artist whose boyfriend is the lead, and they want to use some of her music. So we jumped on that right away. We're like, okay, let's produce 3 tracks for that. So yeah, it's definitely deadlines. Definitely kind of tell what your schedule's going to be like.
Yeah, that's very exciting. I think that a lot of our followers are new and trying to figure out how to get their feet wet and how to become like you. So if one of them asked, how do you make these connections, with the TV producers and publishers? And I mean, where do you start in meeting these people?
For me, it was just a long road of making connections and hitting and missing. And I think what helped was if you're a very brand new songwriter, I would highly suggest you join like Global Songwriters or an organization like that. They're one I can really recommend. Because they will shortcut you a little bit in that they have events, maybe, in a month, 4 different times. They'll have a Music Row publisher come and listen to your stuff. They'll have a film and television person come and listen to your stuff. So if it's, you want to get on the inside where you're already talking to a publisher or people that know people, they might go, oh, that's not right for this show, but maybe you should write with this person. And then that producer may work on another show. And then it's kind of spreads out. And then, try your own hand at things. Like look up some of these companies are legit. Like especially if you do instrumental music, yeah. Scorekeepers is a really good company to get your stuff in sports and NASCAR and that kind of thing. There's Crucial Music is the other one I can highly suggest that is not because they still do non-exclusive contracts. Crucial can get really good ones. If you have the time and can figure out their website, Song Trader. You can actually make some money on Song Trader. You're in a big pool. You're in a very big pool, but I have friends that have gotten some pretty good placements off of there just by, again, showing up every day, pitching 20 songs. It gets to be drudgery, but then every now and then it's like, oh, I got one in there, and it was a $10,000 payment. So hallelujah.
Yeah, I've heard people say that it's kind of two different worlds, so it's hard to focus on both. How to write for sync and pursue a commercial country songwriting career. But if you're writing songs every day, you could be writing something in the country commercial world that will fit over here. You never know. So,
Absolutely.
I would agree with you. Just make all the connections you can. And the thing I always say, and this is your interview, not mine, but just follow up. Don't be scared to just send emails. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you got to lose?
Go be a go-getter. I love it. Okay, are you more of a big goal kind of person or little steps every day kind of person?
I'm kind of a little steps every day because I think if you do your thing every day, it will roll into that.
Yeah.
I don't do 5-year plans and all that kind of thing. And maybe I should. I don't know. I just, I get up, I pray, and I go, I'm going to do my best today. And it all works out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. What is the best piece of advice you've gotten? Or the worst, I guess. Well, the most advice that sticks out in your mind.
Let's see. Well, one of the best pieces of advice was Jim Femino. He said, let people record your songs, like, and this isn't an across the board thing. I mean, because if you've got a song that's like undeniable and you're writing with people who can go pitch that song to Al Dean or Eric Church, then let that happen. But generally, if you're up and coming, your connections haven't gotten to that point yet. Let people record your songs, and because you never know what it's going to turn into. Great American Song was a good point like that. When it got recorded initially, it was a duo, local duo, and that thing blew up. And then I've worked with a lot of independent artists along the way that actually became actresses or got involved. So first just starts out as an independent cut, and then it ends up getting in a couple of different movies, and then goes to radio secondarily, which still there was a revenue stream. So let people record your songs. Don't be like, I only want Tim McGraw or Miranda Lambert to record that. Rethink that situation. That's what Jim taught me. And you never know where a song will go.
I think that's the theme is you just never know. You never know too when an artist is going to blow up. Don't count anybody out because you just never know. And the same thing goes with the connections you're making at publishers or labels or sync places. You just never know that person's going to move on and they'll remember you.
That's right. That's a good point that people forget is like, as you come to town, the people that you come to town with, eventually they, about 80% of them are going to go back home. And then the 20% stay, about 5% maybe country stars, head of publishing, big producers. I've written with so many people that are now stars, along the way. And I value those relationships because now they can pay off a little bit.
If you just stick around long enough, stuff just kind of happens naturally.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, in the world of Zooms now, do you think somebody who wants to be a commercial songwriter has to be in Nashville?
I still think it's really helpful if you can be, because although this all happens by Zoom, nobody's going to know your face and your name that much if you aren't here all the time and know what's going on. There's a lot going on. And we still do go out and hang out a bit, even with the pandemic and everything. And
yeah,
I think anything's possible, but I think the odds are definitely improved if you do live here.
Right. No, I think it's good. I appreciate it. That's why I'm asking. I appreciate your honesty, as I think, at a certain point I needed to hear that. And I've heard stories of other people who eventually had to bite the bullet and come here, and it was the best thing they ever did. So do you have to? No, of course there's examples of like Lori McKenna and people like that. But I think that's great advice. If you want to improve your odds, be present to win.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, well, it has been a tough couple years. I know a lot of people you were just talking about that went home. It got a little too tough and they threw in the towel. It's tough to see. What would you maybe say to somebody who's been struggling, not getting enough shows, not being able to write, not making ends meet? It's been a stressful time. What would you say to a creative
Well,
struggling?
I actually have a song coming out on that topic. I don't know when I'm going to release it, and it's called Right Here in Music City. And
Oh,
it kind of addresses that whole thing. So here's what I ask people. It's not an easy question. It's a little bit of a complicated answer. So the first thing when I go somewhere or something, people go, hey, I think I'm going to Nashville to be a songwriter. I think that's what I want to do. And so the first thing I ask people is, okay, you're here. If I said you can have all the money in the world, everything you need, only on one condition, which is you can never write another song, would you do it? And if you can say, if you say no to that question, then I think you're going to come here and stick and stay. If you're not sure, maybe you're not ready yet. So I just tell people, I always like pray, find out what your purpose is. Like ask God what your purpose is. Is this my purpose? Is it more than just for me and my, because it's like we live our lives here. You come here and then your life takes place. So am I living the right life for me? Am I helping people? Am I giving and taking back? Am I part of the community? That kind of thing. So ask yourself those kind of questions. If you're here and you're sure of all that stuff, then I would say hang in, because you could be that 5 minutes away from a miracle. You never know. I love getting those emails that go, hey, you just got placed on so-and-so, or so-and-so just cut your song, it's coming out this year. I would just say hang in there, because this is what you're meant to do. Obviously, if it's what you're meant to do, it's what you're meant to do. And you're not going to be happy doing anything else. So you might as well find ways and means to pay the bills,
make it work. Amen. I love
Yeah.
that. 5 minutes away from a miracle. See, you speak in song titles, Bill. Look at you. It's amazing. I agree. I think there's a moment we interviewed Marty Dotson, male Marty Dotson, a while back, and he said, if you can do anything else, do it, because this is tough. But if you can't do anything else, I think that's exactly what you were just saying. That's beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Final question. Is there any artist or band that you're really excited about and you want everyone to go check out right now?
Let's see. Wow.
Or
Well,
any one of your songs, perhaps, that you'd like everybody to go check out?
I would like people to check out. I've been working with a band who was huge back around the turn of the century. They were a multi-platinum band called Blessed Union of Souls. So it's BLESSID,
Mhm.
Union of Souls. They got that name from MASH because there was a sign that was misspelled on MASH, the TV show.
Love that.
Said Blessed. But anyway, they are an amazing band. Elliot Sloan is the lead singer, and me and him and Shay Watson have been writing songs for about 3 years. We put out a lot of Blessed Union stuff together, and had a lot of success on television with those guys and movies. But they're just an awesome band, and still going at it. So check out Blessed Union of Souls.
I
And there's a
will.
great video for a song called Smile, that we wrote, that should make you smile.
I will go check it out right now, and I'm sure everybody else will. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. It just flew by, but I'd love to check back in with you later this year when all of your big news comes out.
Absolutely. My pleasure always, Megan.
Well, we really appreciate it, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Sounds good.
Bye.
See ya.
Jamming and Jammie's magic in the air. Head to toe, so cozy. Oh, look out.
Pop, pop, it's showtime. Showtime. Guess who's back again? Oh, they don't know. Oh, they don't know. I bet they know as soon as we walk in. Wearing fuzzy things, candy rings, ain't PJ looking so fly. Don't look too hard, you might hurt yourself. We look too damn good to deny.
At Frisky Frog.
Oh, snap. I'm a dangerous girl with some footies on my feeties. Keep up. So many awesome hits around us, and we're gonna keep them coming. Keep up. Come on down to the frog, and we'll get you Jammie juice and come on. Riders only.
Put your candy rings up
To the moon. What y'all trying to do?